We're now joined by two very special guests who are both in Toronto today to attend the event marking the anniversary of the downing of Flight PS752. Masih Alinejad is a dissident women's rights activist and a journalist, and Nazanin Boniadi is also a human rights advocate and an actor. Thank you both so much for being here in Toronto and joining us at CBC News Network.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for hosting us.
We're very happy to have you here. And Masih, I'll begin with you. Both of you are here to mark the anniversary of PS752 being shot down by the Iranian regime. As we know, all 176 people on board lost their lives as a result. 3 years later, what does this day represent to you?
To be honest, before coming here, I was just walking around and was telling myself that 3 years ago, same city was full of laugh, happiness of Iranian and Canadians just, having their dinners, going to school, children getting together, talking about the latest news on Iran. But now, those families are not with us, but at the same time, you see, they are shouting, the family members of them became the voice of not only for their beloved ones, for those who are inside Iran and they don't have any voice. So for me, being here, it's to show my support to the family members of Ukrainian parliament, Ukrainian airplane, but at the same time, it's like to show the rest of the world that we are united and we must get united to end the Islamic Republic, because we're not going to have justice as far as the Islamic Republic is in power.
Nazanin, talk to me about today's events and what you're hoping to achieve there.
I mean, I'm humbled to be able to be here alongside Masih and Hamed and all the other families of the deceased and demand justice, because this is long overdue. We must demand justice. We must unite to, as Masih said, see an end to the brutalities of this regime.
Today is very much about the anniversary, these 3 years that have passed, and so many families have not seen any justice, no real accountability. But both in the foreground and in the background are those ongoing protests. And Nazanin, you mentioned that about the brutality of this regime. It seems as though PS752 and the protests in Iran have really intertwined to become one movement. Talk to me about that.
This is absolutely one movement, Natasha, because the root of it, the cause of it, is a regime that doesn't value human dignity, doesn't value human life. And as we're seeing on the ground in Iran, there are sham trials, kangaroo courts, no due process, forced confessions, and basically people being lynched, as we just saw with now 4 protesters being killed. Being lynched and hung without any kind of due process. So we have to unite. This is now 44 years of a case study of the Islamic Republic, and it has failed on every level in protecting the Iranian people, because it's called the Islamic Republic, and the IRGC notably doesn't even have the word Iran. It's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It is tasked with protecting the Islamic Republic and the revolution, not the Iranian people.
I mean, beautifully said, beautifully said. It's heartbreaking that you see IRGC, Revolutionary Guards, supposed to be there to protect Iranians, but killing innocent passengers, shooting innocent passengers in the street. As Nazanin mentioned, 4 people got executed, and 2 of them just yesterday. That actually shows you that this is one of the crucial moments that we use this opportunity to ask Justin Trudeau, because as you know, Natasha, 3 years ago, I was here in Canada asking Justin Trudeau to sanction Revolutionary Guards, but by not taking actions, now we both are here to actually in a ceremony to be the voice of the family members of those who got killed by the same Revolutionary Guards, which is beyond sad.
Masih, there's 2 things I want to ask you, beginning with the current situation we find ourselves in Iran. You and I spoke in 2009, I believe, during the Green Revolution. That was the first time we spoke. And at that time, people thought, okay, there might be some change, there might be some compromise with the regime. Then we spoke again about the White Wednesdays campaign, women removing their hijab. Then there was My Stealthy Freedom, another women's rights movement. So we've seen waves of these movements come and go in Iran. Is this one different?
It is different, but Natasha, let me use this opportunity to thank you as well, because look, for years and years, we've been struggling to get the attention of the rest of the world about the fight against compulsory hijab, because people were saying that, oh, this is a small issue, this is part of your culture, let's, not touch this issue because we're causing Islamophobia. As you mentioned, bravely, you gave us the platform to say that, no. First of all, compulsory hijab is not part of our culture. Second of all, it's not internal matter. It's a global issue, and the world must take action instead of going to Iran and obeying compulsory hijab laws. But most important than this, now Masih Amini, 20-year-old woman, got killed. You understand that this is not about hijab. It is about a regime putting pressure on women and men, and now this is the time. Of course, we are all suffering from same victims, which is called the Islamic Republic, but at the same time, we know that we have one same and common cure: removal of the Islamic Republic. And that's why Nazanin, I, and many other actresses and political figures got united, and we are in a way to have our coalition and talk to the rest of the world that this is the time that leaders of G7 and democratic countries, they must get united as well to kick out the diplomats, to legitimize the Iranian revolution and hear our voice.
That's exactly right. Masih's right, and I just want to thank you too, Natasha, for giving us a platform when this really wasn't on the forefront of anyone's minds. And I want to echo Masih in the sense that the reason we are united in this alliance of not only artists and activists and political figures is because we want to increase the political cost of these atrocities that the Islamic Republic is committing, whether it's the shooting down of PS752 and the killing of 176 passengers and crew on board, or it's the lynching of the Iranian people, the murder of the Iranian people, the brutalities committed against the Iranian people. And that's why we've united, and there's more to come.
Okay, well, I'm a little embarrassed, but I accept. Thank you for your thanks. And it has been my honor and pleasure to continue to document these stories with you guys, and we wouldn't be able to do them without your bravery. But both of you are talking about the issue of leadership and unity. And that's critical in this conversation, both what we're seeing in Iran right now and what the future might hold. So Nazanin, let me ask you, who is the leader of this movement? I've heard again and again, everyone's the leader, every mom, every sister, every Joe Schmo in Iran and Tehran and small village. Great, but who is leading the movement? Who's going to unite all of these forces? And is it you guys today in Toronto?
I think the answer is what you're seeing on the ground in Iran is those brave people on the ground are leading the way. We wouldn't get the meetings with lawmakers and get this international attention for them if it wasn't them putting their lives on the line. So I've been doing this for 15 years. Masih's doing this for a very, very long time. And so I think that the shift that we're seeing and the reason we're getting media coverage, global media coverage, and meeting with lawmakers is because of the fight that the Iranian people are in and the risks that they're taking. So all we can do is echo what they're saying and really try to amplify their demands.
The concern there, and I believe I've spoken to both of you about this before, is what if this turns into Occupy Wall Street movement? Where maybe the goals are aspirational, the distribution of wealth, the equality of a society, and yet it got dismissed in the long run because there was not one united voice. Masih, I'll come to you on this point. Let's say what the two of you and millions of other Iranians want to achieve happens and the regime is toppled. What does the next day in Iran look like? Who is leading the country at that point?
Look, as Nazanin beautifully mentioned, that the leaders inside Iran made us outside Iran to be united as well. Look, let's just be very, very transparent. People in the street actually blessing the last Shah of the Iran. So clearly, some of them trusting the son of the Shah, Reza Pahlavi. Hamid Ismailian, now he's not just a spokesperson for the family members of Ukrainian. Many people believe that he can gather many protesters who are chanting that we don't want the Islamic Republic. At the same time, this is the first time that we see sense of unity among athletes, well-known athletes inside Iran, saying that we're going to quit our job no longer. We don't want to be part of the propaganda tool of the Islamic Republic. And that is why Ali Karimi can represent them. Many actresses in Iran removing their hijab, saying that we don't want to be part of this propaganda tool. That's why Nazanin and Golshifteh exactly can represent those actresses. Right now, many of them are in prison. And don't forget, there were brave leaders inside Iran, Azay 14 nafare. They signed a letter saying that the supreme leader must go. Fatemeh Sepehri was one of them. So that's why outside Iran, Shireen Ebadi can represent them. I mean, many of us that we got united, we are in touch with Hossein. We've been in touch years and years with Hossein Ronaqi, Majid Tabakkoli, Fatemeh Sepehri, Bakhtiari. These are the well-known activists inside. Now they are in prison, so they cannot talk to us, but we know what they want. And that's why I think we are ready. We are ready. The world must be ready. The leaders of G7, they must get united and put the Revolutionary Guards on the terrorist list. And this is what we have been doing now. I met with President Macron. Nazanin met with Jake Sullivan, and both of us and many other public figures, they met with the leaders. And we know that we are ready to get rid of the Islamic Republic. But the world is not ready. That's why we are here. That's why we're trying to get the attention of the leaders of democratic countries to support us.
Why is the world not ready to see this regime go, guys?
You know why? Because of money. The Islamic Republic is an ISIS with oil. You can say that in our meeting, they're hesitating. But I think they changed their tone. What do you think? They changed. The leaders are changing their tone towards...
I do think there's been a shift again because of the bravery of the Iranian people. I think they're understanding that they need to shift how they view the Islamic Republic and its leadership. But I think the hesitation really is what happened in '79. They don't probably want a repeat of essentially allowing something like that to happen, so situation getting worse than it is. But I can assure you, I don't know that it can really get worse than what we're seeing right now in Iran. And not with this, what you're seeing on the ground in Iran is the bravery of the people. I don't think these people will allow it. I don't think the population of Iran is what it was in '79. They won't be fooled again. So I really, really believe that the time is right to stand unequivocally with the Iranian people.
How long will this go on, these protests, the brutality of the regime?
I think it's unpredictable. Masih?
This is just the beginning of the end. It's a marathon. You know, Natasha, we have tough road ahead. But believe me, the more that the Iranian regime kill, the more that the Iranian regime hang, the more that people get determined to get rid of this murderous regime. Look, this is the first time in the history we see sense of unity among Kurds, Turk, Baluch. I mean, men and women, we are united to end this regime. We don't know, as Nazanin said, when this is going to happen, but the revolution happened inside our heart, and we know that. We will get rid of the Islamic Republic, and the history will judge those leaders who could support us, but they decided to, stay away or turn their, back to us.
And I just want to add one last thing, Natasha, and that is people thought this would end in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's now been 4 months. So my hope is that people understand, global leaders understand, that they need to bet not on the Islamic Republic, but bet on the Iranian people, believe in them, count on them, and do everything you can to empower civil society in Iran.
Exactly. Look, people in Kurdistan, the cities of Kurdistan where Jina, Masih Amini got killed, are still in the streets. In Baluchistan, they are still in the streets. So that actually shows you that people, they know that if they take back to the streets again, they're not sure whether they're going to go back home or not, but they're facing guns and bullets, but they know that this revolution is going to win and we will be free one day.
Masih, Alinejad, Nazanin, Boniadi, thank you both so much.
Thank you, Natasha.
And good luck with today's events and good luck with your movement.
Thank you so much for hosting us.